Okay, so in this video we're going to make a login screen using JavaScript, CSS, HTML, and with the help also of jQuery. We are starting off with completely empty files. Okay, jQuery is in the library, not that matters so much. And yeah, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is actually open up the file on our browser. Okay, over here. Fantastic. And let's combine it with put these things together here. Yeah, here we are. Okay, great. So we don't see anything here. Let us make sure everything is linked in. Okay, there's a hi over here. And there's a hi. Okay, and now we're going to go style and say body, background color is going to be red. And while we're at it, we're going to say console log hi. Okay, very original there. I see it's red. And console log. Great, so everything is linked together. Now, let's start. What I'm going to do is first start, even though we're going to later create our view from a view file, which I'll make right now. Okay, we'll view.js, and we'll have a controller, which is going to be our main controller for everything, and our model is how we interact with the data. Okay, so even though we're going to have all this happening later, first I just want to make it happen in HTML. So we're going to create two input boxes of, first we're going to type email, okay, and give it an ID of email, right, and that way I can say label for, and we're going to give it a label of email, so it's going to say that, and so enter your email address. Fantastic, and then CL again, and so now we're going to have a password one, enter your password, and the type is going to be password, and the ID is going to, type is going to be password, and the email is going to be password. Okay, and while I'm at it, I'm just remembering that I'm going to end up, we'll run into a problem. I'm going to have to change this in a moment, but not yet. We're going to run into a problem though using the MVC format with JavaScript. So anyway though, here we have our container. Oh, and last thing I want to add in, of course, is our submit button, equals button, and its value is going to be login. Great. I think that's all we need for now. Back to here. Here we go. Looking good. Now let's style it just a little bit. Style. Put that to the side so I can see both things simultaneously. So now let us first set our container. Give it a height and width. I think 200 width, 200 pixels is good, and height, let's say also 200 pixels. Okay, now margin from the top is going to be, let's say 50 pixels, and then say auto so it's sort of in the center. Let's check that out. There we are. Oh, background color. So it stands out from our background, the regular section. Make it a little bit gray. Make it a slightly lighter gray. Yeah, fine. Okay, looking good. Now we need to give it some padding. I can put the the color effects higher and then things lower, so it gives some padding so the text shows up away from the borders a little bit. Good. And now we need to make sure that the lines actually run, not in sequential order like this, but one to the next. So let us target the input labels, which have a type of female, and input that has a type of password. Yeah, and say both of those, we're going to say display block. So now they should not continue on the same line, and give it a margin bottom of 20 pixels to separate them from their friends. Looking good. Okay, last thing, I just want to style that login button just a touch, and that is going to be input type equals button, and let us give it a little bit of padding of 10 pixels by 20 pixels so the text moves good, and back the border radius to make it less edgy. Boom. Let's add a little bit more of that. Okay. And then let's say border none to remove that border. So now great. Let's put back to whatever. Okay. Great. So now let us just one more thing. So input type button type equals button hover. Let's change its background color to be a different type of gray. Okay, and we'll add in also a box shadow of 0 pixels and 2 on the Y direction, a blur of 4, and make it black. So you hover over it now, it looks like you did something. Okay, that is our styling for our login. Actually, maybe I should add a word here. There's 2, please log in. Okay, see if that's good. And let us, while we're at that, H2 and text align center. Alright, fine. Good enough for now. Okay, so we've styled it in our HTML, but we actually don't want to do it here. We're going to move that over to our view. So let's take everything we just put into our container and get rid of it. Go to our view, and first we're going to create a variable to hold on to that information. So it's called the container element equals document query selector, and it's called container. Right, so now we have that, and now we're going to say create a function called show login, and it's going to have an HTML which is going to surprisingly look just like what we've created in our index HTML. And once we have that in there, we're going to say the container element inner HTML will be equal to this HTML. Okay, and since we're doing this in the MVC format, we have to make sure we export this function called show login so other people can use it. Okay, so now who's going to be using it? Our controller is going to use it. So let's say import, we'll have a bunch of things here, input as view from the view, great, .js. And while we're at that, we'll also import from the model. We'll have functions from there too. So let's get those in. Model.js. Good. Okay. Now, what we want to do is call initializing function, and the first thing we're going to do is show the login. It's very nice. It puts in the fact it's coming from the view. We're going to show the login screen. Good. Now we have to make sure that we can call the controller. So we go to here and say import init from controller. Now I'm putting this into curly braces because it's the only function we're importing from controller, versus over here we're importing every single function that will be coming our way. Anyway, though, so now we've imported init, we're going to call it init. So now when the program runs, it's going to go to our main. Main is going to call init. Init is going to go here, and init is going to then call show login. Now, interesting, it's not actually used. Okay, but I think I know why, and that is the error we're going to run into right here. We cannot import statements outside of a module. So that means we have to actually go. The solution to that is saying that this type of main.js is actually a type module. Okay, and now, okay, well, we solved that problem and ran into another one. Okay, it doesn't return an export named in it. Oh, that's right. Controller, we did it for view. See, view exported the show login. For controller, we forgot to export that init, which is, again, that is actually why we are having this being highlighted. Now it's being exported, and main can get it. And now, look at that. We now have our view, the HTML being populated by the view. Okay, now that that's happening, let's get some functionality into here. We want to be able to people type things into your address and password. When I hit login, it will send that information to be checked. Okay, so we don't need main anymore. All it's doing is giving access to our MVC protocol. So after it shows the login, let us then set login event listener. Okay, so it's internally we're going to have set login event listener. And what's going to happen here, it's going to say the controller, oh, here, well, yeah, the controller doesn't need, I think the controller, it needs to have access to, the button that we created, right? So let us say, let button element equals document, query selector, and it's just a button, right? Oh, actually, we'll call it by its, let's give it an ID, huh? ID equals submit button. Whatever. If we're doing that, we can actually change it from type button, but whatever. Okay, if we don't need this anymore, back to our controller, we're going to have something called the submit button equals, and that is an ID, submit button. Okay, so now we have this. We can say, okay, button element, add event listener, when there's a click. Actually, maybe we want to do it this way. Let's say, let us do it. We don't need it. Okay, one more time. We don't need event listener. So we can just say, okay, add the event listener right in here. Event listener, click, and when that happens, we will check login details. Okay, we're going to run the function check login details. Good. Instead of doing this, and now we have a new function called check login details. Like that. Give me some error. Find out why. Get rid of all this. Still getting an error. Oh, it doesn't have to call it function, don't I? There we are. Okay, so now it's called check login details. And what's going to happen over here is we are going to get the information that was submitted in the email and password fields and send them along to our model to check them. So say let email equals document get element, sorry, query selector. That's like query selector. Okay, and it's going to call it an ID of email, right? And value. And password value. And let's just make sure everything's good there. Log. Okay, email equals email and password equals password. And all that's good. So, will this work? Interesting. It's again 0. I didn't even click anything. That seems like I would be wrong there. So let's, instead of doing this, here we are. So now it's not being called, it's being created. Much better. Okay, so now if I put in information here, okay, we are on a roll, and let's move on. Okay, fine. So now that we have our information here, let us go send that along to our model to check. I guess we check login details also. We can call the same thing, can't we? Email and password. And all I have to do is create that now. So in our model, we are going to have a function called check login details, which will accept email and a password. And we have to have that checked against the information in our database. So I happen to have set up a database using app-drag. Okay, here, I'll show you. So I have a few different APIs. Okay, the one we're going to be looking at is login. It's the login one. Okay, which basically says send along the email and password and check users table to export the first name, email, and a token where the email matches the email that the person entered matches the email in our database, and the password the user enters matches the password in our database. Okay, and conveniently enough, since we're using jQuery, I can just pull up the, where is it? Here, login. This code will do all that work for us that we just saw over here, right? So I'm going to copy this login code. Okay, and that way. Okay, so now checking login details. Here we go. Great. So now let's just make sure this is working. And I'll remember to export this time. Check login details. Okay, great. I don't like putting spaces here. Great. Okay, and control change login details. When you click, it's going to go run that, and it should print off. Here we are. So I ran it, and it came back with nothing because it didn't match anything in our table. So then I entered information. It's a obvious result. If I put in gobbledygook, it should also come back to the same result of nothing. But if I put in a valid user, okay, so now we will get back someone. There he is. Okay, right? A table of something, and there is data there, right? Okay, let's try like this. So if I go model and response. Let's try also say console log response. Oh, I continue like this. Okay. Yeah. Instead of log, let's do dir. And now, if I run that, we'll see more information. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, password shouldn't have said that. Anyway, here we are. Let's see. Here's our table. Yeah, table. No, I'm still not seeing. I'm not seeing the information. Oh, wait. Response. All right. Let's find out how to get to our table information. Will that print it? Let's see. Undefined. Okay, so. Okay, let's see. Let's see how to fix this one. We are getting information. Oh, before I do that, let's just put a pause into our model. Okay, it's going to process this. And so now we'll stop it here. Okay, response is pretty proper information. Let's just check it out. Response. I think it should have found something. No, it didn't. I'm pretty sure that's correct though. Let us do it again. 1@gmail.com. 1, 2, 3, 4, in case you're wondering. Response is nothing. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I can't just copy this code in directly. Look at this. It's putting in the email and passwords as hard coded. It's not taking the email and password. And it happens to be the password here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but in any case, I will replace it with the variables, and now it will actually change based on how I enter information into here. Yes. Great. So let's try it again. So we know when it's not working. We'll just do it one more time. So you see it's not working. And take off this breakpoint. Hello. Missing parameter. Did that work? Let's try that again. Looks like it didn't work. Controller. Sending. Well, there we are. Email and a comma and password. Now we're sending 2 pieces of information to our function. Now help. Okay, this time we have returned nothing. Doesn't match anyone, and this time we're going to try to actually get to Mr. Number 1. Success! Here we are. We found Justin. Okay. Now we have that, and I have a response. We have to return that response. Okay. And for returning the response, we want our controller to catch that response. Response equal model. Okay, so now we have a response, and we'll console log the response. We'll say response equals response. Good. So now we'll go here, and we'll try it out one more time. Let's do it with good information again. Okay. So we have our person, it's returned, it's found it, but the response is undefined. And I've already worked through this a lot, so I'll tell you what happened. Okay, it's undefined because the AJAX call is a promise. It's asynchronous, and the controller is calling it in a synchronous manner. So asynchronous says wait until the process is actually finished before moving on, and synchronous says just keep on going. So it's actually calling this function check login details, but not waiting for it to finish before populating the variable response. So response is undefined because it hasn't gotten information yet from the model to be equal to anything. Right? If I were actually to say let response equals 5, and then this, I imagine response is still going to be 5, even though, right? No, it's undefined. Okay, let's back up from that. I forget I said anything. Okay, I forget why. Okay, nevertheless. So to fix that, we make this into an asynchronous function, but since it's async true, we might not need to do that. And we say that instead of returning response here, we want it to finish. We want this whole process to finish. We want that process to finish. Yes. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to say let response equal to the await of this. Meaning don't give response a value until the function call to this URL and the check happens. Now response will have a value, and then once that is done, then we will console log response and return response. Okay, and let's see what happens now. Okay, response has information, and it's equal to here and here. Everything looks good. No question. So I was a little bit imprecise here. This response, I didn't say which one is happening where. So, response equals response. We should see that someplace. Here, response equals. Oh, there it is. Response equals object promise, meaning it actually doesn't have the value yet because it's only a promise it got received and not the function, not the value of response. So we have to do the same thing again over here and say this function to check login details will also be asynchronous, and we'll have to wait for model to finish. Okay, and now it should work. Let me just take out some. We don't need this. We don't need this either. Function goes down to here. Console log. We don't need this console log either. So, we don't have console logs on here. Okay, let's get rid of that one. And we'll get rid of this return. And now it's looking pretty. Trimmed down. Let's hope it works this time. gmail.com. Response is undefined. Dun dun dun. Okay. Okay, I think I'm not actually returning this value of response to anything. So let's actually, we don't need response here. We're saying response is equal to whatever this returns, which is going to be, let's say response. Okay, and then we say, now here's do console return response. I'm doing console log. I know that we've seen that inside this check login details function, it definitely has the information from the table. It's a question of getting it back to the controller. Okay. which, okay, let's try it one more time. And yes, now our controller has received the object. All I have to do now is parse that object, and remember it was a table, right? So we say dot, it had a table in it. Okay, hold on. Let's do it step by step. Okay, if we do dir, we should be able to see all the information that it's returning. Okay, no. Oh, it's not able to do that because I have to. Okay, so now we're going to see the object as an object. Yay. Okay, so in the object with the curly braces, we have inside a value called table, which is an array. And in the array, we have at the position 0 an object which has the 3 fields we asked our API to return to us: first name, email, and token. Great. So now we are in the controller. I want to log the response of an object whose value is table, which is an array, and whose first position is another object, whose has a key value of first name equal to the first name of the person that is returned from the database. And success! I am very excited here. Okay, so we now have the person's name is being returned to the controller, and everything is good. And if we put in someone that is not correct, we get back cannot read fname of undefined. Okay, and that's in controller 9. And that's because there's nothing in table position 1. So that means what we have to do is say if response table 0 is, let's hold on a second, is equal to null, is equal to, is not equal to blank. Okay, then we'll do print it out, otherwise we won't print it out. Okay, but before we get to this point, I do want to just double check that that's working. Okay, shall we be brave? I'll see if it works without checking it out. Okay, let's see. So if this works, well, this should work anyway. We should get his name. The question is, if we get something wrong, it should just print nothing. Well, that didn't happen, did it? Okay, so back to our drawing board here. Let's go to controller, and we want to say here, so this, since we can't find it, over here, we're going to pause it now. Okay, so now we have our, okay, so now we have a response, okay, and we have the table, which is equal to nothing there, see? So if I say, is it equal to this? It's not equal to that, even though it looks like it is equal to that, right? Does not look like it's equal to that. It looks like it's equal to me. Okay. It's 3 of me? No, it's not that either. That's undefined because, again, there's nothing in it. Response table. How do I want to capture that? Let's try capturing it by with that. No. Oh, here we go. The table length is 0. And if I say, is it equal to 0? It's true. Good. So that's how we'll do our check. If response table length is equal to 0, that means we have nothing. And if we is not equal to 0, that means we have something, and therefore we will return the name of whatever is in there. Otherwise, we will console log no match. Okay, great. Let's start again with that. There should be a no match. Oh, take it off. Okay. No match. Here we are. See that? No match. Okay, and now if we put in, let's do it one more time. See, no match. And if I put in someone for information for that person, we have his name. Beautiful. Okay, so now that we have that, we know that he logged in or didn't log in. So instead of showing console log, we want to actually show something on the screen. Showing something on the screen obviously means affecting our view. And what we will do is say, we will say view, we'll say welcome user. Okay, and we will send that response table 0 name. Okay, so we'll send along the person's name, and if there's no match, we will say view incorrect login. Sounds good. You don't have to pass anything to that. And all we have to do now is create those two functions in view. Let's do a welcome user. Okay. Function welcome user. And we say it's getting a person's name. Okay. And while we're at it, we'll also get the incorrect login function. And put it over here. And we'll pass it to that one. So if we are welcoming the user, so then let us just take our container element and wipe out the login to say hello and hey. Let's make it a little nicer, I guess. I mean, not nicer, but make it easier. Hello name. Okay. And fine. And if it is incorrect, we will say container inner HTML is equal to sorry, you did the email and password did not match or were incorrect. Doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, fine. So if that's the case, so we'll have these things happening. Those are exported, and I am calling them through here. So everything looks like it should work. I hope. Okay, so if we do, let's do a correct one first. And yay! Look at that. Beautiful. And if we do an incorrect one, fantastic. I am very excited. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is store this information into our local storage so that next time they log in, they refresh the screen, they have to log in again because we know that they were there. Okay, so do that. That means when they successfully logged in, not only do we have to welcome them, but we have to go to the model and say update, is it called internal storage? Okay, local storage, there we go. You can see I did a few checks already here. Okay, local storage. Update local storage. and we got back the response, which is everything. Good. So I have to update local storage with the response. Okay. And now let's go over here. So let's get the name of it here. Make sure we're exporting it, and then create it. Function update local storage, and it's got our data or user. How about that? Fine. Okay. So now we're just gonna say local storage set item, call it our user, and give it the value user. But we can't actually do that because user is an array, an object, and we have to first turn it into JSON, a string. Yes. So JSON, stringify our user, and now we'll be, before we do this, let's check that out. Okay. Log user JSON, and that way we'll also see it's being called. Update local storage is going to turn the user data into a string and show that on the console. Okay, looks like it should work. Okay, so that is our stringified version of our object, right? I hope so. One second. Yeah, I would think so, because in the past, sorry, doing a little construction over here. In the past, we got this as a drop-down twirly that we could look at each thing individually, and here we can't see that, so I think it is actually a string. So now that we have that, we are going to save that into our local storage. So let's just see. Before, we have nothing in our local storage. We are now going to say login. And ta-da! Now he's here in our local storage. And we log in. Okay, so now the next thing to do is, when we refresh the screen, as I said before, it shouldn't say login again. It should check our local storage to make sure that maybe he's already logged in. That's Justin. Oh, we have to use the token as well, but we're just going to do simply, if there's something here, then we'll first get it to work like that. Okay, so that means when we refresh the screen, we have to check if there's something in our local storage, which means that the first thing we have to do on init is not actually show the login, but actually check to see if check local storage, right? Now check local storage. Okay, and here we are. So check local storage. Yeah. Okay, so over here what we're going to do is say let user equal to local storage get item. The key is user. Yes. Okay, so now console log user. Okay, so now we're going to check local storage, export that. Controller is going to call that. Great, so now it's not actually working yet, but the first thing that's going to happen when we refresh the screen is that we're going to check our local storage, which we did, and it printed it. That just so we're very clear. I'll say local storage data equals. Okay, so now there we are. The local storage data is that. So it's definitely putting it from local storage, and it is a nice JSON string. So we have to turn that into I'm doing one line, but let's just do it 2 dots. This is user JSON, and then the user equal to JSON of parse of our user JSON. Okay, so now it's going to take what's returned from our JSON file and turn it into a user, and that really means I could take this and put it in here. Right, it's the same thing now. Yeah, okay. And now when we print this, now users, instead of being a string, is going to be that array. Now see it is. Here it's an object. So now it's an object. Okay, and that means we can actually use it in our program. So let's just put this here. Now it actually shows a twirly. See, and here's our table, and here is the information stored in our local storage. Okay, so now that we have that, let's see what happens. So the way we're going to work it is, as we did before, our length. Yeah. So we have our user, and we say if user table length equals not equal to 0, that means we have something. And found user, and if it's not there, we're going to say console log no data. So no local storage data. Alright, back to here, refresh, we found the user. And if I go to our application area and delete that, now he's not there anymore. Alright, refresh. Ooh, can't read table of no. What line was that on? 24. Table of no. Okay, so it looks like I have to go even. I have to find some other way of finding out if it came back with information. So let us do this. Currently we have nothing in here. Back to our library of controller. That controller, right now we're looking at our model. In our model, we are saying that this line is what's giving us trouble. Do it again. And there we are. We're right here. So user is null. Alright, so say it's not equal to null then. Let's just change that. Instead of user is not equal to null. Yeah. So now, refresh, take it off. No storage data. Beautiful. Okay. So now we have nothing in storage. Correct. And if I enter the wrong information, it says it's wrong. And if I refresh, it still asks me to log in because it doesn't recognize me yet. And if I log in with a field, login information, it recognizes me and it saves it in our local storage. And the next time I refresh, it shouldn't be showing me a login screen. So let's do that, okay? The controller, it says check local storage. Aha. So what we say now is if something is found, now instead of just saying a console log, I want to return the user, which is all of our information. And if there is no information, return a -1. Now I can go back to my controller. And over here, I'll say let result response equal to whatever it's sending back. And as we saw before, if response is not equal to -1, that means we have some information. And if we don't, then we'll ask them to log in. So let's just make sure that, let's do some control logs here. Console log. So init found data in local storage. Okay, great. Okay, so if there's someone there, we'll have a console log. If not, we'll see the screen. And since currently we have information here, we should just have on the console log, they found something. Here it is. And if we delete this and refresh our screen, now it should say login. Beautiful. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is call a view with our success view, and we'll say welcome user. We'll send that the response. We can say response table 0f name, right? So we saw the response is sending back to an object which has a table, which is an array, and position 0 is an object which has a key called first name. So we'll send that along to our welcome user function that we are now going to create. And oh, here it is. Look at that. I even named it welcome user. Boy, great minds think alike. Okay, did I call it something else? Oh, here it is. View welcome user. View welcome user. Yeah, so I guess I just want to call welcome user response table, and I already did it. Look at that. Okay, so now refresh. No local storage data, so that's why we're not welcoming anyone. If I do it wrong, again, it's going to say it's not correct. Now the big finale is I'm going to enter someone's information. Okay, and he's going to end up in our application data, local storage. And now if I hit refresh, it should say welcome. Oh, here, data found in local storage. But, oh, hello, yeah, so it's the same thing. So let me, can make a difference between that. Here's what I could do. Yeah, if it's an initial thing, I can just add in, actually, I'll send in local storage. So now it's a longer string. There it is. See? Now it knew it came from local storage. Versus if I log in for the first time. My name's not Justin, by the way, but I thought it was cool. Anyway, here we are, log in. So now I'll just say, hello, Justin. And if I refresh, it came from the local storage. Very nice. Okay, so that's all for now. We will do a little bit more later with the token and whatnot. Okay.